comedy is getting to the point where I was talking to Luis Gomez the other day, and Luis made a really good point. He said, he's like, we got 5 years left in the business. And what he meant by that, and I think he was right, is that within 5 years, the type of comedy that we do is just going to become, it's going to fly in the crosshairs of Google and YouTube and a lot of these big platforms. And they're going to just kind of do everything they can to get rid of it. And at that point, you'll, go to a smaller platform, or you'll just say, fuck it. You'll go, I had my run, I had fun, made some money, but the tide is turning when it comes to the types of comedy that people even want. Younger people don't want the type of comedy that might upset anybody. And I don't really have an interest in doing the type of comedy that, younger people want right now. I don't, it's not for me. So I'm just going to keep doing what I do until it's impossible to do. But that could be coming sooner rather than later. And I mean, I'll always have some level of, podcast you can broadcast, or I'll go on the road, to the extent that I want to go on the road. We do have new dates on sale right now in August. We have, I'm going to be at the Sacramento Punchline. It's the last weekend of July into August, Sacramento Punchline, okay? So Friday, July 31st through Saturday, August 1st, Sacramento Punchline. I'm going to be at Wise Guys in Salt Lake City, Utah, Friday, August 7th and 8th. Cleveland Hilarities, Thursday, August 13th through the 15th. And then the Ontario Improv, the 27th through the 30th of August. If you're healthy and you want to go out and you're sick of sitting at home and you're sick of sifting through the podcasts of, people to try to find things they've said that are upsetting, and you want to get out and breathe some fresh air in a mask, which I love now, the way everyone's getting mad at Rogan because of the mask. And it's like, how many things about this virus have been reversed? How many? They said it lived on surfaces, and then they said, no, it didn't. Sorry, we didn't mean that. They said asymptomatic carriers could really transmit the virus. Now they said, well, actually, not really. It's pre-symptomatic, which means you'll get symptoms eventually. And for a few days, you may not have the symptoms. But in terms of asymptomatic people that never have symptoms, we don't know how much that's. They've revised the mortality rate a bunch. So I'm not saying, don't wear a mask in a business, or if you're around other people, that seems smart too. However, it's very possible they come out here in a few weeks and go, oh, yeah, by the way, the masks were, no good, or the masks were not as effective as we thought. We thought ventilators were great in the beginning, and then we realized they were killing people. And, who knows? Who knows what they say about the masks? But, let's not treat anything as dogma, because we love doing that. We love hearing something and going, this is the way it is now. And then a week later, we realize that wasn't the case. And then we just throw it away and pretend it never happened. Forget it, pretend it never happened. Like when these protests started happening, we just pretend we weren't supposed to not gather in groups of 10,000 people. We just forgot that. We pretended that it wasn't a thing. So, yeah, but I will be back on the road in August unless the spikes are crazy and it's dangerous to go out. I don't know. I can't predict it. I'm not going to predict it. I'm not going to predict it. But this is, when you go on Twitter, and most of you don't, and you shouldn't, but the amount of people that call themselves comedians is hilarious. Like, does any other group of people have such a lax definition of who is and who isn't a comedian? How many people out there are saying they're a model with no evidence of it? I'm sure some. But how many people call themselves a model and have never modeled and are grotesque? Disgusting. I mean, how many people are doing that? Maybe more than I know. Are people doing that? Maybe. People with like lesions on their face sit down with a group of other people and go, I model, actually. Because there's so many people that are comedians, and all of them have been robbed. They're all geniuses, one and all. They are phenomenal. No one better than these guys. And they've all been robbed by somebody. Somebody took their opportunity away. Had nothing to do with them. Had nothing to do with the fact that it's just a very difficult thing to pursue. It was all, the cards were stacked against them. And all these people do all day is attack people that have succeeded. I mean, it's boring at this point. I mean, you read it, you go through it, you scroll through it, you're like, yeah, guys. You see where these people live. They don't even live in New York or LA. Yeah, I'm in Denver. And I didn't have the career I should have had. Get the fuck out of Denver. But it doesn't matter. It's not rational, you know? But it's why maybe there's, me and Lewis, we're talking about it's like 5 years left. It's like you almost want to just say to some of these people, and some of the people that are losing their minds could buy and sell me. Some of them have so much money, it's wild how much money some of these people have. And they still are oppressed. I don't know how it happens. Like, they're still oppressed with all the money in the world. It's still still can't get out of bed. They can't go to a comedy club. They're everything because it's just, they have to just, if they go to a comedy club, on their way into the comedy club, they just have to fight off rapists to get inside these people, Tens of millions of dollars. Nothing's enough. It's never enough for anyone here. Never enough. From the open micer that doesn't make it to the person who lives in a mansion, nothing satiates anybody. Everybody's constantly battling this invisible force that is keeping them down at all times. And this force, takes many different names, Eventually, it gets boring. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's like, I've been in this business about 11 years. I've seen all of the cycles of people. I've seen the people on the outside become people on the inside. And then, and then they become the enemy. I've seen that. I've seen the people that have all the big opinions get the jobs, and then suddenly they don't have those opinions anymore. And it's just not interesting. You're just like, okay, because now, obviously what Chris did was abhorrent, and, more and more comes out about that all the time. But, like, there's this idea that, like, there's a crew of people that, like, support this kind of behavior or, like, protect him. And I don't know the guy well, and I've never hung out with him, and we've spoke less than 5 times. But this idea of how close everybody is kind of, I don't know where it comes from. Like, I watched this great documentary about surfing called Momentum Generation or Generation Moment, whatever. And it's about all these surfers that essentially grew up together in this house in Oahu. Yeah, Momentum Generation. And it's about all of these, Kelly Slater, Rob Machado, Shane Dorian. These guys are the best surfers in the world, some of them that have ever lived. And it's about how they started out as teenagers in Hawaii in this small house in Oahu. And they know each other inside and out, and they're all like best friends. It's like a brotherhood, and they grew up together, and they're fiercely competitive, and of course they have issues with each other, but they all become great at this thing together. And it's like, I was watching that, and I'm like, well, comedy's just not this. It's just not this. It's just the reality, There are people that are doing comedy that are very good at it. There are people that are doing it where you go, huh. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's just, some people get very good at it. Some people are making millions of dollars and are still not good at it. And it's just not, it's the market decides, right? And then that's just what it is. And everybody gets upset at you if you you have to supposedly call out everyone who sucks. Like, what job does that work? What job could you do that? You just go into the office, you sit down, you go, hey, Sarah, you suck. You suck. Sue is much better at accounts receivable. It's not a work environment. You can't do that. You just go, you worry about yourself, you do your own fucking thing, and you're done. Really. And then you see people every now and then. But this idea that it's like everybody's super tight and everybody knows what everybody else is up to, it's like, it's not really the case. I'm not saying nobody knows. I don't know how things work, but like the idea that like there's this group of men, these podcasters are keeping me down. They are keeping me down. Not really. Not really. Also, you can start a podcast or you could do something, you know? So